Right, okay, no worries. So I went back to my office job in the prison, and I thought, right, I'm going to write a course. I was in front of a laptop, 4 or 5 hours a day, manning the phones, and they only rang every now and again. I thought, I'm just going to hammer out a course. So I basically sat down and looked at, reflected on my whole life. And this is the thing about the reflection of my life, about when did I realise I'd gone wrong. And I came out of 12 modules. It was 11, but one of them's irrelevant. And these were focused on all the problems I'd faced. And I'm going to forget them. So the first one was mentality and risk-taking behaviour. Second one was relationships. Next one was trust. Then it was substance misuse. Then it was mental health. Then it was looking at dealing with charities. Then the next one was looking at being realistic with expectations. Then it was employability. Then it was looking after yourself. Then it was custody. And then it was a prison visit. So I did it. 12. It was 10. I think that's them anyway. So I wrote a course on these 12 modules. And basically what I did is sat there and I asked myself, based on each module, as many questions as I could. Why did I join the army? Why did I leave the army? Did I see combat? Did this happen? Did that happen? And I did a list of questions, all these different modules, and I created a course over that. Completed after about 3 months of writing, and I spoke to the interventions manager, who changed by then of the new one. I said, look, can I deliver this course to veterans in custody? They said, let's have a look at it first. So they took it and had a look at it, and they came out and they couldn't believe what I created. They said, wow, we've never seen anything like this. This rivals any course we've got in the prison. Wow. with a sense of the content and the delivery. So I put all the things like summarising, conclusions, and
did you have any sort of background in anything like that, or was this?
No, I've been given a course as part of my sentence plan back in Loudon Grange.
So you had kind of a loose template of something.
Yeah, I thought, well, he's delivered that, so he's obviously got a provision to deliver, so he must be, this is clearly what sort of thing he's got in front of him. So yeah, so I kind of developed this course, and they said, look for a pilot scheme, or do some case studies first. So I delivered 5 case studies to individuals across the prison, and I did sort of pre-course report and a post-course report and a questionnaire, and it just showed the difference between how effective the course was. So if they answered the questionnaire prior to starting, give them the same one at the end, tally the difference. If they've answered more at the end, it's had a positive outcome. Every one of them was showing a massive improvement, so that's good. So then the director of the prison got on board, who's the private version of the governor. And he said, I like it, I like what you're doing, so we want you to deliver a pilot now. So we're going to give you a room in the prison, just you and these veterans. It doesn't happen. Normally you've got a member of staff, that we're going to give you a room. We're going to give you refreshments. We're going to give you all the stationery, everything you need to run that course.
They're giving you a hell of a lot of trust.
Yeah, a huge amount of trust. I'd already in a very trusted position anyway, but more trust again. So I started the pilot course in 2017. Ran 5 courses across that. Again, everyone showed improvement. So 2018 came in, so right, we want you to start delivering the course properly now. So deliver another 4 courses over 2018. Not many, but I want to keep the numbers right and keep it controlled just to monitor it. And again, what the guys on the course found out is the way the course was written, we've all suffered a similar, maybe different offence, we've all taken a similar journey. The way the course is designed is we all start at the beginning. Why did we join the army? And we all take this journey together. It's sequential. We go through our experience, and then the back end of the course is about healing. It's about talking about what we can do for the community, where can we go, what transferable skills have we got. And the overwhelming sort of result was that the course worked for everyone that took part of it, including guys with the mental health as well. So in 2019, when I was due for release, back in 2017, I was given the opportunity to be a Category D, i.e. lowered down to open conditions. And I thought, I don't want to go. I've been waiting to go to open conditions to a local prison near to where I live, because I go home on weekends, I go home on day releases, I can work locally, but I won't be able to pursue this course. I won't be able to finish it off. I won't be able to iron out a deal with the director. So I chose to stay in closed conditions as a Cat D prisoner. So from 2017, I got my Cat D early, because I got there early. It worked. I got there for like 20 out of instead of 2.5 years, I had like 2 3/4 years, which is a result in my eyes. I was given a job working outside of the prison in the visits hall, and I was given a job to come in and deliver the course to the veterans in custody. So 1 day a week I'd stay in and deliver the course. The other 4 days or 5 days a week I'd go out and work in the visiting centre outside the prison. And then I was starting to go in on weekends. So I chose to stay at Oakwood. And the flip side was that opportunities there were really good. We had a great link with local bases. RF Cosford was one of them. And we did a couple of talks where it got me into public speaking. I was invited with the OMU department, which is the offender management unit within the prison, to go to Imgin Barracks in Gloucestershire. I was in Innsworth, I think. And it's like an admin. It's kind of like where the RMPs are based. And it's like a main central headquarters. And it was to deliver a presentation on veterans in custody and the offending rates in veterans. And never done a public sort of presentation before, and we sort of got there, and the aim was I'll be there with a couple members of staff, OMU, people that I knew, people that I was working with in the visiting centre, who was an ex-forces guy as well, a chap called Robbie, who's good as gold. We're really close friends now. He's ex-prison officer as well. And we got into this auditorium, if you like, and it was sat there, it's a proper deal. You got like the seats in front of you, the big screen behind you, very military, you know, and sat there, I'm absolutely shitting myself and thinking, I've got to do a talk now about
You're more nervous than that than you were going in the talk.
I was terrified. Absolutely terrified. I think it's because these people meant so much to me. So I kind of sat there, and we had a few people doing different talks about their experience of crime and everything else. And the person in charge of the Major Robinson Kirk, she's brilliant. She said, well, we've got some people from HMP Oakwood now. We're going to talk to you about how they deal with veterans in custody. And no one knew I was a prisoner at the time. I was on release on temporary licence. So some of the guys who I was with did a little talk. They said, we're going to hand you the Rich now, who runs our veterans in custody. So they haven't given it away. I stood there, and there's a room of about over 100 people, high-ranking officers. I looked at them all, I said, right. So I've got 2 numbers. First one was my RE number, 24840691. Second one's my prison number, Alpha 4552 Charlie Foxtrot. And you could hear a pin drop. And they just looked at me. I said, don't worry, I haven't escaped. I'm on release on temporary licence. And they suddenly realised that I was a prisoner. They didn't understand how it worked. They didn't realise that you could be released on a day release. I told them about my journey, not as detailed as we've done today.
Of course.
But bullet pointed it all the way through. And the questions they were coming up were so, and no disrespect to the people in that crowd, because they just didn't know. They're so naive to what waits them outside of those walls of being in the forces. Why did you get involved in crime? Couldn't you have just done it this way? Or, you know, was it about the money? Or, and then I said no. And I answered every question correctly. There's not really a right or wrong answer, just there is the answer I've got. And at the end, the good thing was they came down, shook hands, said thank you for that. You know, we appreciate what you've done. And it gave me a boost, if you like, to think, right, I'm doing the right thing now. This is where I need to go. This is what I need to be doing, because I'm comfortable now speaking to groups of people, however many there are. I've done a few more since. I've done one at Cosford, 22 signals, which was horrendous. 200 junior ranks, didn't want to be there. They'd been ordered to be there. I just got out of prison. That was rough, but I got through it alive. The biggest one I did, we hit a liaison. I've done a lot of work with West Mids Police, are way ahead of the mark with supporting veterans who are getting caught up in the CJS. So they came into Oakwood a few times. We've got some really great people in the West Mids Police who are doing so much. And they invited me to do some work with them and to just talk about, to some of their officers, about Project TLS, which is what my course was called. And my journey to understand how I can help them about interventions with veterans and how they can help me and what can we learn from each other. And they put me in touch with a chap from Bristol Haven in Somerset, Sergeant Jones is an MBE now. And he said, come down to Bristol, meet me on one of my day release, we'll have a chat. And he said, we need to get something put into Bristol. We haven't got anything really going. He said, can you come and do a talk at Portishead Training School, which is where they train the police in Bristol? I said, yeah, I'd love to. So I went down there with a chap called Cormac Doyle, who delivers the mental health provision. He does a lot of work with PTSD, which is the chap that treated me. We did a bit of a talk about things, and we went into this training centre in front of the constabulary that had arrested me and put me away. And that's the most nervous I've ever been.
Okay.
So I'm stood in this, again, a proper briefing room at the front, and Sergeant Jones explains what he's going to do, and he's in this very sort of dynamic setup where they look at options, how they can improve policing and how they can engage with the community and just fix problems which need fixing. He said, we've got Rich Jones here, and some of them in the crowd knew me from past.
Mm-hmm.
They'd obviously done their research.
Mm-hmm.
And I was terrified. I was so nervous I could hardly speak to start off with. It took a while to get me going. And I finished it. I got it across okay, and there was an inspector in the front, and he looked at me, he said, "You're our worst nightmare." He said, "You've got better training than us. You're on the wrong side of the law." Said, "We have to deploy so much money to catch people like you." He said, "You're a nightmare." I said, "But thank you for what you've done." I said, "I'll take that as a compliment." He said, "It is a compliment. I don't mean any malice in that at all." He said, "You are our worst nightmare, people like you." And I thought, I'll take a positive from that. I have to. And off the back of that, they then created this Veterans Champion scheme in Bristol, Avon and Somerset, where anyone that's served in the forces, or people that are friendly to veterans, will start looking at interventions. So any veterans that are picked up, they start looking at why they're being arrested, what's the triggers, what are the problems, and start looking at helping them rather than locking them up. So we started that back in 2017 or 2018, sorry. So that was a really big deal for me.